at, can you guys see there? Everything's fine. Okay, so the thing with a cash flow is they very seldom ask you to do the whole thing. So the three ways that they ask it, they like to incorporate note 3 into it, where they ask you note 3, the asset one, or they like to ask the ordinary share capital note with it, right? That's why I'm saying ordinary share capital, retained income, and note 3 is going to be everywhere. If it's not in question 1, it's going to be in question 2. Note 3, if it's not in question 2, it's going to be in paper 2. If it's not in question 1 or 2. But those 3 notes you will find. So in this case, the information that you need is you need, first of all, always an income statement extract. Why? For note 1. No? Because you need the net profit before tax, you need the depreciation and the interest, and you need the income tax. Then they'll give you a balance sheet. With the balance sheet, they will always give you the 2 comparing years, right? And the 2 comparing years, most of this, you actually want to see how it moves from one year to the other. Remember, it's all about cash going in, coming in, and cash going out, right? So then the other thing that you need to look for is with trade and other receivables and payables. There's usually notes. Why? Because in the notes, they will tell us, and we can immediately, I would, if I were you, go to the note immediately, highlight SAS, highlight shareholders for dividends, so that I am not tempted to use it when I do note 1. Right. So, let's start. So if I look at this, they give me the cash flow statement. So the first thing I do before I do anything else is I'm going to bracket. No? So that because with the cash flow they are extremely strict on the brackets. So anything where cash go out, bracket, ne? He has to put on his jacket. So when it says paid, ne? Pay, buy, ne? Buy. Those are immediate keywords for brackets. Brackets for those 3, brackets for that one, bracket for that one. Now, you do not know the fixed deposit and the loan so far, but what you can do is you highlight the increase with the fixed deposit and the decrease with the loan, because if it's one of those 2, then you would know, oh, also a bracket. So, let's go. Next thing, in this case, so this is an exercise that literally tests everything, right? So if I look here, now I'm going to do the recon. So that is note 1. So let's start. Recon, basically I need net profit before tax, plus depreciation, plus interest. You don't have to write adjustments for. You're not going to get marks for it. Block and top, no marks for it. Okay, so don't waste your time. So now I see. They give me, do they give me the net profit before tax here? No. But they do give me tax. So if they give me a percentage, I can calculate net profit before tax. Ne? Okay, let's go see what else they give me. So I see with the extra notes, there's nothing, but here's retained income. And here they give me net profit after tax, which is also not going to help me because it's a question mark. So, now, what else did they give me? Did they give me my percentage somewhere? Anybody? No. No percentage. But what other method can I then use to get net profit? Because now, remember in my head, net profit before tax less tax gives me net profit after tax. So they gave me tax. So if I can get net profit after tax, I can get net profit before tax. Is there a way here for me to get net profit after tax? Yes, I can reverse. So the first thing that you need to do, because visually we are used to having a thick line just before the answer, you see? So now I'm going to reverse. So I say 85 plus 113 minus 65 equals net profit after tax.
133, 100.
Like that.
Yes.
133, 100. Okay, so now I can go calculate it. And you know what? You're going to calculate it in your answer. Right. So you know you've got the net profit after tax. 133, 100. You know you've got tax, which they gave you 108, 900. Now my question is, am I going to plus or minus? Remember, I'm reversing, ne? So net profit after tax, reversing. Am I going to add or minus the tax? I'm going to add the tax. And that gives me what? Huh? 242. Okay. So, I go back to my income statement. Now, can you see there's two interests? You need to add both of them. So, it's going to be the 11.5 and the 2.1. All the interest expenses. So, that's going to give me 13.6. And depreciation? Oh, again, question mark. Yes. Okay, so you did the net profit after tax or before tax different.
Yes.
How did you do it?
I first went and I did assets for me to get depreciation. So then in my note 1, I have all of the variables except net profit before tax. Then I also went to my cash flow statement and I have the net change in cash because they gave us the opening and closing for cash.
Okay, so in other words, what you did is you did the whole face first.
Basically, yeah.
And then you worked it back and reversed it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then I got a different answer.
Okay, but then it's wrong.
Why is it wrong?
Okay, can you and me sit with it now and figure it out? I think as we go with the cash flow, you will see where you went wrong. Because it's in theory, it's supposed to work. Okay, so depreciation they don't give me. But I know I also need to do fixed assets. And if I remember fixed assets T with the most beautiful song that you all love, that says, I got an opening and a closing, whatever I buy, and an asset disposal, and because it's at carry value, I also put in depreciation. And what am I looking for? Depreciation. So let's see, did they give me the other 4? Because then I can calculate depreciation. So let's go to my assets, and I know in a balance sheet phase my fixed assets is carry value. And I've got an opening and a closing. So the opening, closing, okay. Now let's go look, what else did they tell me? Oh, they gave me extra notes. They say the fixed assets consist of land and building equipment. They're only those 2. Land and buildings had no movements. Equipment with a cost was sold for cash at book value, which is carry value, 4,000. So I put in the 4,000. And the new equipment was 60. So remember, anything new, the cost price is equal to the carry value. Okay? So, carry value, carry value, carry value, carry value, I can calculate depreciation. So, what is my depreciation? 42,000. And that 42,000 I'm going to put in here. 42,000. And before I forget, I already, while I still have the information for fixed assets in my mind, I'm going to put it in the face already. I bought fixed assets for 60,000 and I sold fixed assets for 4,000. Everybody shop with that. Hey, shop. I want you to get into the habit of when you have the information, already put it in the formats. So before you start a question, you always get your formats that it's perfect. So that when you read the information, you can put it everywhere where you need it. Then you know that piece of information that you read, it's done. You don't have to read it twice, it saves time. Okay, so now I need to bottomize. So 242, 42, 13,6 gives me, anybody? 307. 297, 600. Okay. And now I go to the working capital. And remember, what did I say? What is working capital? The word working capital, it actually means current assets less current liabilities. That is the capital you have left to work with. Okay. So, I just, for myself, I think, because in an exam, you tend to think like it's not you. So I like to put little script notes for myself in here. Okay, so I remember inventory, the increase, and receivable, the increase is with brackets. But with payables, the decrease is in brackets. Okay, so it's asset, asset, liability. Increase, increase, decrease. Okay, so now I go look. Inventory, it's the straightforward one. It's an increase. I can say it goes from 69 to 106, so it's an increase. And how much did it increase? 37. Say again, my baby. 37, 200. Is it with or without a bracket? With. It's an increase. And that would be maybe 1, sometimes even 2 ticks. But if your bracket is wrong, nothing. Trade and other receivables, I need to go work with the note because there's a sash there. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to say to myself, self, let's add everything new. So you can either, this one I can most now see there's no sash, so it's 55, 200. And I write it in because there you get part marks. And here I can either say 89 plus 2 plus 6, or I can say 111 less 14. So it's 91, 97, 300. 97, 300. And you can see it's an increase, so it's a bracket. And what is the increase? And this is either 2 ticks or 3 if your bracket is right. It depends. Remember, the memo can be different. Now I need to do the payables. But now when I go to the payables, also I see self. Remember, you have to re-add. So I re-add. So it's easy. This one, 64 less 20 gives me 44. Or 38 plus 3 gives me 44. Then I go look. I see shareholders for is 22, so I can just subtract that. Or I can add it, which is actually easier because 12 plus 76 gives me 88. Is that right? So I see again it's an increase. An increase is positive 44. So now I go minus 37. You work with your brackets. Minus 37 minus 42 plus 44 gives me what?
Is it not supposed to be 44, 500?
Where's the 500? Oh, I see the 88 is 88, 500. This one. Oh, the 44. Okay, so this is 44, 500. Oh, can you just decide what it is? 43, 500. Are we happy? Okay, so now we block and top. Work with your brackets. Minus minus plus gives me minus 35,800. And now I take those two and bottomize it here. And I work with the brackets. So it's a plus 297 minus 35. Say again, baby. 800. Thank you. Everybody shout. So now I'm going to transfer this to 61. 800 to the face. And I also see there's an interest paid, which I already did, the 13,600. Okay, so now the next one I see is dividends paid. So dividends paid, before I do anything, I go see, do they have an opening and an interim for me? So I go look. Opening, I look at shareholders for dividends. Shareholders for dividends. Opening is 16,000. So yes, I've got 16,000. Interim. Interim, they will either give me information or they'll give me a retained income. They gave me a retained income, but the retained income only gives me the total. What do I know? I know the total equals the final and the interim. I have the total, 113,100. Do I have the final? Yes. What is the final? 22,500. Always remember this is the opening, ne? And this is the final, which is the closing. Okay? So I'm going to add, I'm going to subtract 22,500 so that I can get the interim, ne? So if I subtract that, what is the interim? Anybody again? 9,600. 9,600. Okay. And that gives me 106,600. Okay. And you do write this there, because this will give you ticks. This would be 1, this would maybe be 2, maybe only 1, depending. And then they give you a bagel for the bracket. So if you write 106,600 without the bracket, and you didn't show me your calculation, depending on what the memo says, I'm not allowed to mark it. Sometimes they say you can, and sometimes they don't. But why am I going to take the chance? Don't take chances. Tax. So tax is my favorite, because tax I can sing again. So with tax, please, on your answer sheet, you do the T. So you make a little star, you do your sash here. You say sash. Because also, part marks. So, I have a opening and a closing and a bank and an income tax. Receivable and payable, receivable and payable. Okay, now let's go look at 2021. If I look at my trade and other receivables, can you see SASH is the closing balance in receivables? Remember, they could have also said current asset or debit, right? So receivables, 14,500. Closing. So the closing is this side. Who wants to man me? Everybody fine? Okay. So now I know, because it's not in receivables, the opening is definitely in the payables. So if I go to the payables, I see there it is. And remember, payables, they can give you as a credit or as a current liability. Okay. So that 4,000 is a payable. Payable is also credit. And my tax is in my income statement. There it is. Oh, sorry, wrong. There it is. There it is. Tax is 108,900. And now I can see I'm basically going to add all three. You don't have to add it here and transfer there. Just show that and then the total there, which is what? Say again, 127. 127,400. And now I can block on top. 42. And this is the cash from operating activities. In other words, this is the cash I'm getting from the income statement. This is actually, in other words, what they are saying is, this is the cash that I have available to use from my profit. That's what they are actually saying to you. Does that make sense to you? Because if you do your income statement, the net profit must include non-cash items as well. Ne? So now they are telling you, this is what you have left from your income statement. That is actual cash. Even though your net profit was 242,000. You see? So the income statement, your profit, didn't bring in a lot of cash. Now, do you want me to stop the video and start a new one with the next one? Because we're on 24 minutes.